Welcome back to Chat Like a Native. So let's say you're someone who's really mastered English grammar. You can write a perfect essay, you know exactly where all the commas go,
Mm-hmm.
but you still have this feeling that when you're speaking, especially quickly or, casually, you sound a little stiff.
A little bit robotic, maybe?
Exactly. If that's you, then you're going to want to pay very close attention.
Yeah, because we're talking about what is probably the fastest, highest impact upgrade you can make to your spoken English.
Okay, so give me an example.
All right, think about a high-energy conversation. Someone scores a goal in a game you're watching. They shout, "Goal." And you just reply, "Yes."
It's correct. Grammatically, it's fine.
It's totally correct, but it just kills the energy. Now imagine they shout, "Goal," and you shoot back with, "Yes." Woo!
Okay, I see. That's the difference between just correct English and, like, alive English.
That's it. And that aliveness, that spontaneous energy, it comes from interjections.
These are the short, sort of explosive words or sounds, right? Like, ouch, wow, ugh.
Yep. They exist totally outside the normal grammar of a sentence. They're just pure emotion. So our goal today is really to give you the framework to go from grammatically perfect to emotionally fluent.
And there's a way to remember this.
There is. To anchor this whole mission, just remember that these tiny words give you ECT in a conversation.
ECT.
Okay, what's that?
They provide emotion, color, and, this is so important, timing.
Emotion, color, and timing. I like that. So this is all about building a toolkit of these little sounds that native speakers are using all the time.
Constantly. So let's jump in with the biggest question.
Which is?
If these things are grammatically extra, they're independent, why are they so vital in a real conversation?
Right. Why do we need them at all?
The short answer is speed and social connection. I mean, standard vocabulary takes time to use.
You have to think, find the word.
Right. You have to conjugate verbs, structure a whole thought. Interjections just skip all of that. They're these immediate social tools that do jobs our normal vocabulary just can't do fast enough. Yeah. Especially the job of just showing you're present.
Exactly. That's what you call the social glue factor. They're instant proof that you're emotionally engaged, that you're actually listening.
So if a friend tells you some bad news and you immediately go, "Oh, that's terrible," that little "oh," that's the signal.
That's the signal. It shows immediate empathy. Or think about someone trying to explain something really complex to you.
Okay.
And you're confused, and then suddenly you get it, and you say, "Oh, I see what you mean."
Right. That one little "oh" communicates everything.
It communicates instantaneous realization, and the speaker knows, okay, great, they get it, I can move on. They don't have to stop and ask, "Do you understand?"
And that ties right into this idea of emotional color.
Mm-hmm.
Interjections are like putting a filter on the message. You can say, "I got a promotion."
Which is just information. It's a fact.
But if you say, "I got a promotion," woohoo.
Yeah.
Same information, totally different feeling.
The woohoo just colors the entire interaction. And that third point, timing, is maybe the most critical one for learners because, honestly, it reduces anxiety.
How so?
In a fast conversation, you sometimes need, like half a second to organize your thoughts?
Or just find the right verb tense.
And in that moment of pressure, instead of just going silent or panicking, you can use a quick "huh" or "oh."
And that buys you time.
It buys you that essential breathing room. It's like an acoustic pause that doesn't feel like a real pause.
Yeah.
It keeps the flow going and signals, "Hey, I'm processing, hang on," while you build your sentence.
Without them, every conversation is kind of a high-stakes grammar test.
It really is. With them, you get flexibility.
Okay, so we know why they matter. The
Okay.
next logical question is, how do we actually build a toolkit? There are hundreds of these things. How do you organize them?
You have to group them by function. Memorizing an alphabetical list is useless. You need to categorize them by the job they do.
All right, let's start with what you call Family A, the reaction shots.
These are the immediate, unfiltered emotional flashes, like a close-up on a feeling.
The heavy hitters.
Totally. So for surprise or amazement, you've got wow, whoa, and the phrase no way.
Is there a difference between wow and whoa?
I think so. Wow is often just pure admiration. Wow, that's a beautiful car. Whoa often implies you need to, pause or stop. It's a reaction to scale. Whoa, hold on, that's way too much.
That's a great distinction. Then you have the physical ones. Pain, like ouch or ow.
Yep. And disgust, like ew, yuck. And my personal favorite, ooh.
I use ooh all the time. It's not just for disgust, it's for, frustration or annoyance. Ugh, the train is late again.
Exactly. And the flip side of that is pure delight. So you have yay or woo for when something good suddenly happens.
Okay, so that's Family A. What's Family B?
Family B is for hesitation and thinking sounds. These are the tools you use to hold the floor while your brain is catching up.
So the classics, and, yeah.
Right. And it's so important to say that native speakers use these constantly. It doesn't mean you're bad at the language. It just means you have a human brain that's processing.
We also have which I feel like I hear more in British English.
It is a little more common in British contexts, yeah. But the most complex one in this family is probably, see? Right there. It signals thinking, but it often comes with a dose of skepticism. If I tell you my great new plan, you just go, I immediately know you're not convinced.
Even if I don't say anything else.
The does all the work. It's an incredibly precise little tool.
All right, so moving on to family C. This is the social family. Agreement, attention, and back-channeling.
Back-channeling, it sounds technical, but it's just about being a good conversation partner.
Okay, explain that.
Back-channel signals are how you show you're listening and tracking with someone without taking a full turn to speak. If you don't do this, you can seem really passive or just bored.
So this would be all the different ways to say yes, like...
Yeah.
Yep.
All of those. And the really crucial ones for keeping a conversation going. Or
The little hums that say, I'm with you, keep going.
Exactly. Then there's either.
Yeah.
Right? Which confirms you understand something. And hey, which is a great way to grab attention. Hey, look at that.
Or even to show surprise, like, hey, that's not what we agreed on.
You got it. These signals stop the other person from feeling like they're just talking into a void.
Which brings us to our last big group, Family D, softening and politeness.
Yes. These are the diplomatic interjections for, let's say, sticky situations.
And the star here has to be O.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, signals you've just received new information or you've had a realization. If someone corrects you and you say, oh, I didn't realize that, it instantly softens the whole interaction.
And then there's well. I feel like well is essential for disagreeing politely.
It is. You almost never want to start a disagreement with a hard fact. You soften it. Well, I see what you're saying, but it just buys you a little social credit.
And what about me?
That's for clarification, usually when you feel like you misspoke. That was too hard. I mean, it was more challenging than I expected. It's self-correction in real time.
And you've also got the really mild ones, like gee or gosh.
Right, for when you want to show mild surprise without being too loud or dramatic about it.
Before we move on, there's one little group we have to mention. The mistake and warning family.
Yes, super common. You've got oops for a small mistake you just made, like spilling a little water.
And whoops is kind of a more playful version of that.
Right, but the critical one is uh-oh. That's the sound of seeing a problem coming. Uh-oh, I think I left the stove on.
That immediate sense of dread.
Exactly.
So all of this brings us to what might be the most important part, and where I see a lot of learners struggle, tone and intonation.
This is everything. This is where the real fluency is. It's not the letters you say. It's the music of your voice.
You can say the exact same word and mean completely different things.
Totally. Let's take that listening sound we mentioned. If you say it with a quick, falling pitch, that's simple agreement. I get it. But if you say it with a rising pitch, that's a question. It means, really? Are you sure?
And if you draw it out and say it flat, that's pure sarcasm.
Or just boredom. 3 completely different intentions, same word.
Or think about the length of a word. A short, clipped wow is just small, polite surprise.
But a long, drawn-out woo, that's huge admiration. The stretch carries the meaning.
Let's do another one. Really?
Great example. Really? With a high, rising pitch is asking, is that true? I'm surprised.
But really, with a low, falling pitch.
That's suspicion or annoyance. Really. I find that hard to believe.
So the takeaway here is, when you're learning these, don't just write down the word.
No, you have to copy the music. Listen to how a native speaker says, ooh, and try to match that exact sound, the length, the pitch. That's where the emotion actually is.
Okay, so let's talk context. Knowing when to use them is just as important as knowing what to use.
Rule number 1 is spoken versus written. They are completely normal, even expected, in spoken English.
In chats, on TV, social media, all of that.
But in formal writing reports, business emails, you use them very, very rarely. They just break that formal tone.
And even within spoken English, there's a difference between formal and informal.
For sure. Your safe zone is talking with friends, casual meetings, texts. You can use pretty much anything we've discussed.
But then there's the caution zone, like a job interview or a big presentation.
Right. You probably don't want to shout, no way, when your potential boss tells you about company profits. It just sounds unprofessional.
So what do you use instead?
This is where that family D, the softening family, becomes your professional toolkit. Using well or oh or is much safer. It shows you're thinking.
So if you get a tough question in an interview, you could start with, well, that's an interesting point.
Exactly. That well buys you thinking time without making you sound unprepared. It's so much better than starting with, that's a hard question.
Right, because the initial ooh has already colored their impression of you.
And that leads us to the danger zone. We have to talk about swear words. They're used as interjections all the time in media.
All the time.
But for a learner, we strongly advise replacing them with softer versions. You should understand them, of course, for listening, but don't use them.
So it's like a substitution. Instead of a strong swear word for shock, you could say dang or oh my gosh.
Yes. Instead of what the hell, you can say what on earth or what in the world.
You get the same meaning, that feeling of shock or surprise, but without the risk of sounding aggressive and disrespectful.
Which is a very easy line to cross when you're in a second language and you don't have that deep cultural context.
Okay, so knowing all this, let's look at the common pitfalls. Why do learners struggle with this?
Trap number 1 is direct translation. Every language has its own emotional sounds. You can't just bring yours into English and expect people to understand.
You have to learn the English equivalent for relief, which is phew, or disgust, which is ew.
Exactly. Mistake number 2 is overusing a safe word. We hear this a lot with wow. Learners use it for every positive feeling. Surprise, delight, admiration. It becomes a crutch.
The fix for that is just conscious diversification.
Perfect phrase for it. You have to force yourself to use the specific word. If you feel relief, practice using phew. Build that toolkit of 10 or 15 core interjections and cycle through them.
And mistake number 3, the tone mismatch. Saying the right word, yay, but with a totally flat, bored voice.
It immediately sounds sarcastic, insincere. You might say, great job, wow. But if your voice is flat, what they hear is sarcasm.
Which is why we'll get to shadowing in a minute. And the last mistake.
Ignoring them when you're listening. When you're under pressure, it's easy to just focus on the nouns and verbs and totally miss the little sounds that are carrying all the emotional context.
You're missing half the story if you miss the emotion.
You really are. So the fix is to deliberately shift your focus. Sometimes just listen to a conversation only for the interjections. What emotion is being conveyed?
Let's make this super practical. Give us a simple 3-step training plan that someone can start today.
Okay, step 1. Collect real-life examples. Pick a show you like, a YouTube channel, whatever. For 10 minutes, just listen for interjections. Write them down. The word, the situation, the emotion.
So this is about raising your awareness, moving from just knowing they exist to actively recognizing them.
Exactly. Then step 2, which fixes the tone problem. Shadow and exaggerate. Take the examples you wrote down and repeat them right after the speaker. Copy the rhythm, copy the tone.
And you say exaggerate.
Yes, especially at first. Make the woo really long. Make the ooh really dramatic. This trains your voice and your mouth to make the sound physically and emotionally. You can dial it back later.
And the final step is to actually use them.
Step 3, insert them into your own speech. Don't wait until it feels perfect. Just start deliberately adding 2 or 3 into low-stakes practice, like telling a story about your day.
So something like, I went to the store, it was so busy, but then I found my favorite ice cream and I was like, yay.
That's perfect. Start small like that, and eventually these little sounds will become totally automatic.
So when we put this all together, what's the big picture? Interjections aren't just filler.
No, they are essential fine-tuning tools. Once you have the grammar and the vocabulary down, these little sounds are what polish your English. They make you sound flexible, fast, and human.
Capable of reacting and laughing and celebrating in real time.
They are the shortcut to emotional fluency. So the challenge this week is just those 3 steps. Notice, shadow, and add. Start listening for the music, not just the words.
And that actually leads to a really interesting final thought. We said that interjections are grammatically independent. They can stand all by themselves and carry huge emotional weight. So if that's true, if these tiny little sounds can do so much work on their own, it makes you wonder how much of our daily communication is actually carried by pure, unstructured emotion, the wow and the ugh, rather than by the careful, deliberate structure of grammar.
That is a powerful idea. A great question to think about this week while you're listening for all those ahs and woes in your own conversations.